Welcome back, you filthy exiles. So, I generally like to take on builds that nobody's really playing, though Shield Crush ended up being borderline a meta. Now, I've almost finished that build, and it's doing endgame like endgame is Swiss cheese, so yeah, we're moving to a second build to have a bit of fun. And try some new shit that not many people are playing. So anyway, second build, as I think I had in the comment chat on the channel, is Ice Crash Totems. And as it stands, there are only 5 people that are doing this with the Chieftain. Now, looking at the damage wise, upside damage potential is pretty crazy, and I've benchmarked the builds that you can see here. There are things in them that I don't like because they don't fit my playstyle, so I'm changing them to the way that I want to do it. And also the treeing and things like that. As you can see, nobody here is running Supreme Ego, but I'm going to try and fit Supreme Ego into mine. So anyway, what are we doing? What is the gearing? How does this work? Basically, you're going to be dropping your totem, Ice Crash Totems. You'll drop down your Ancestral Protectors. This is going to buff the attack speed of your totems. And then we've got an Arcanus brand here that brands with Wave of Conviction, which is this down here, which then applies your your fire exposure. And I've also got this attached to combustion, and yeah, that's pretty simple stuff. So gearing wise, as it stands now, one of the hardest things to get is going to be the mace for this, but anyway, we'll go forward. So I would say this is good for a second build, not necessarily league starter, though you could league start with it. It's pretty powerful leveling up. I used this Invictus to level this up. But basically, once you can get your 2 Kahamas, and these right now are about 100 Chaos, and they're going down in price because totem builds are still not the most popular builds in the world, and they're a unique playstyle that you have to really like, or you'll either like or you hate. You really need 2 Kahamas Fortress here. What it basically does is it gives you Blood Magic and Mortal Conviction. So this build, no matter problems whatsoever. It also means that you can reserve 1 aura. Now, we're going cold to fire conversion in this, so we actually want to use Hatred and then stack physical damage, because then that Hatred is going to take a portion that's, so in this case, 24% of your physical damage, and then that's going to increase cold damage, and then you're doing 100% conversion of that cold damage to fire damage. So this is actually a better stat than using hatred, than using anger. So you want to go with Hatred in this circumstance. Now, we are going to be stacking crit on this build, and we already have, and I'll talk about that very shortly. But basically, the basic gearing I've got right now, and this is doing like this is at level 75, doing T5 to 7 maps pretty easily. 2 Kahamas Fortress is the given. This is because you need it for that extra totem. Now, you can do it with shields. You can, I think, get Shaper shields and craft 1 additional totem. But this gives you Blood Magic and Mortal Conviction, which saves you having to travel all the way down to here on the tree and waste 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points that you can allocate to other areas of the tree. So the other thing that it gives you is 300 armor per summon totem, so survivability, that'll be 900 armor. It'll also give you the additional totem, nearly about 100 health, and 40% increased totem damage, which is really important because you want totem damage. Helm, just using a Crown of the Inward Eye. This is going to be my endgame Helm as well, just because it's got flat armor, transfiguration, a soul, body, and mind, which really don't do jack shit on this build, but the life and the mana, or the life is what you want from this, and the armor. Then we've got a Chimera's Maul Gavel. This isn't the optimum weapon for this build, but tool tipping, it's getting up to 36 to 50 to 60,000 DPS with Nagamu's Flame on. This is just a really good weapon to level up with because it's got huge flat damage and it's specific to cold. So, and it gives you crit chance, which is just really good. Now you're going to be using spike gloves, but you want better spike gloves than this, and most likely ones with culling strike eventually. I am just using a really basic Belly of the Beast. It is max rolled because I lucked out with it, but just on a 5 link, and I'm getting good DPS. And then rings, just anything that gets you all resist, attribute points, health, and in this case, elemental damage with attacks, because you want that. And same with this ring I lucked out with because it came with weakness, elemental weakness on hit, which makes it even more powerful. And so you know, your totems will proc that elemental weakness on hit. It doesn't just apply to you, it applies to the hits that your totems do. Amulet wise, I've just went with something that gives me all attributes, health, and this is nowhere near where I want it to be. I haven't even put an anoint on it, but it's getting there. Now belt, I'm just using Belt of the Deceiver, just because the Intimidate, and also just crit damage reduction, which is nice. And boots, funnily enough, I had this roll on as I was doing the campaign, or as I was doing mapping with my other character, and I did get a roll where I had resistances and gain 8% of physical damage as extra cold damage, which is the end game roll that you want on your boots. It's just the way that it's rolled on these boots. It's not very good because there's no HP on this, otherwise these would be good boots. That's pretty much it for the gearing. Gem setup, so in the helm I've just got Ancestral Protector with Combustion, Culling Strike, and Multiple Totems. Multiple Totems lets you cast another 2 totems. So as you can see, I can have 5 totems, 3 being the actual slam totems and 2 being the actual Ancestral Protectors. In my gavel, I've just got Phase Run and Second Wind. That's on my move button, so I can get Phase Run as I'm running through maps. In my shield, I've just got Leap Slam, Faster Attacks, and Fortify. Just good survivability and movement speed. Now in my chest, in the 5 link, I've got Ice Crash, Cold to Fire, Support, Pulverize, Elemental Damage with increased elemental damage with attacks, and Earthbreaker. I will be adding increased crit multi as well, because crit multi, I tried using multi-strike and it's okay, but crit multi, you just want them to hit big. Like you buff it up with your Ancestral Protected totems, and then they hit fast and they hit big. And we'll be buffing up attack speed with the with jewels as well, the same way that we're doing it on on our Shield Crash character. In my gloves, I've just got Hatred, Immortal Call, Stone Golem for no real reason, and Cast on Damage Taken. And in my boots, Enduring Cry, Arcanist Brand, Wave of Conviction, and Combustion. That's pretty much it. Now, I have seen other builds using Mind support for proccing Wave of Conviction. You can do that either way. I just don't like having to tap so many buttons. This way I only need to hit Arcanist Brand, Ancestral Protector, and drop my totems, and then just have Enduring Cry for when I need it, and that works for me fine. Now, tree. I should add Flasks are nowhere near optimum, but it's just Quicksilver, Diamond Flask for the extra crit, because that does buff your damage, as you can see there. Lion's Roar, obviously, buffs your damage even more. Sulfur Flask, buffs your damage even more. Check that down. And then just a Staunching Flask to stop bleed, because obviously bleed is a huge problem in this league. So getting to the actual tree, we haven't done our last Ascendancy yet, which is a big survivability boost for me. So you're just going to come down to get Warrior's Blood, Born to Fight. It's important that you get versatility and also precision, and the reason why is accuracy is the problem with this build, and this is where totems don't do as much damage as you would like them to do, because their chance to hit right now is 67%, and that's not good. You really don't want to go for where is it? You don't want to go for Resolute Technique with these totems, because it'll just limit the amount of damage your totems can do. You want those big crits, because Ice Crash benefits off crits. So anyway, you're going to come up and get Heart of the Warrior. I would advocate getting Primal Manifestation, and then you'll come back, or sorry, maybe ignore that, scratch that. We'll come up to this crossroad here, go straight across and get Barbarism, straight up until you get Ancestral Bond. This will be the first thing that you do when you level up this character. Then you're going to come down and you're going to grab Divine Judgment, and then you'll come back up and you'll get Primal Manifestation, come down here and get Totemic Zeal. This will be the next steps. Then you'll come up here, pick up Magmatic Strikes, pick up Blacksmith's Clout, because we're going to be using a mace. This will buff up crit across the board and fire damage. Then you'll come back and get Disemboweling. Then you'll come up and you'll get Devotion and pick up all the nodes to Discipline and Training. Then come up past your Ancestral Bond, you want to get Avatar of Fire. Then you'll come in and you'll pick up these nodes going down to Shaman's Dominion. The reason why is you need these critical strike multipliers to make your totems really do some huge fuck off damage. Then you'll come back across, you'll pick up your Pain Forger, which again increases your crit with maces and scepters. and then Galvanic Hammer, which is going to increase your accuracy and your crit with maces and scepters. It's really important that you get that. That's going to give you a huge advantage to doing damage with your totems. Then I've just picked up a 10C cluster jewel here because I need to proc fire, and I've got Cremator and Smoking Remains in here so far. Now I'll flesh this out in a future video, probably in the next couple days when I level this up more, but that'll get your that'll start to get your damage pumping. Ascendancy wise, more or less you're going to get Tukahama's, sorry, you're not going to get that. You're going to get Arahongui's, fucking hell, Moon's Presence. This is going to give your totems more damage in AoE. Then you're going to pick up your Nagamu's Flame second. You're going to get your Tukahama War's Herald third. And then finally you'll get Tessalio's Cleansing Water, and this is going to be your huge damage buff up. So obviously I haven't focused on fire resistances because I'm going to get that from my Ascendancy here, and this is going to increase my life recovery rate too when I take damage. So it's a big advantage. That's pretty much it for this as it is right now. I do have Soul of Lunaris. I do have Soul of Tukahama because this is physical damage reduction. This character gets whomped a fair bit. And that's one of the things right now. I've only got 4,000 health and I want to get it to about 6,500. I want to get my totems up significantly to doing a lot more damage. We'll just go into D&D. And that's pretty much it. Oh, and your Anoint, I haven't got it yet, but you're going to go for Panopticon. And the reason why is you want to buff up your Ancestral Protector totems. This is going to give you more damage at the end of the day as well. So yeah, as it stands, I think POB is telling me somewhere around the 77,000 damage, 77k DPS mark for each totem, but I suspect it's way more than that. And actually, I do have Intimidate on. Yeah, it doesn't do anything. This is Cyrus damage, by the way, so this will go up significantly once I've kitted this out. On your tooltip, you're looking about 36 to 55, 60,000 DPS per totem. It's hard to really tell. Yeah, so it goes straight up to 54,000 once you drop your Ancestral Protector totems. And that's, you know, without other buffs going on as well. So it's hard to tell where the DPS will end up once I start gearing this up, but it'll definitely, I will get this over 1 million easily. Once you get this over 1 million per totem, it's just doing gratuitous amounts of damage. Like that's Cyrus killing damage, that can do pretty much everything in the game. But yeah, anyway, I'll put the POB as it is in the description. Also put a link to the other builds that are on Path of Building that you can refer to as a reference point as well. They've done some pretty good shit with getting it working because it is quite a tedious skill to get working and get popping, but it is possible and completely doable. But yeah, anyway, until next time, like and sub, and bye.